Alright, welcome to another Hougly booze review. This time around we're going to be doing a whiskey review. This is the only single malt whiskey in Canada. Well, the company makes the only single malts anyway. This isn't the only single malt from that company. This is Glen Breton Ice, the world's first single malt whiskey aged in ice wine barrels. This is a specialty from this distillery, which was established in 1989. They're in Cape Breton, so hence the Breton. Interesting fact about this company is that the Scotch Whisky Association sued these guys, saying that they protested the use of Glen in their name because, most Scotch whiskies, or at least a majority of Scotch whiskies, have Glen in their name, and they didn't want Glen Breton to be associated with them. So, but they lost. They actually lost their court cases, and Glen Breton stays. This is an ice wine that's aged 10 years, and it's aged in ice wine barrels from the Jost winery here in Nova Scotia. 57.2% alcohol by volume. Let's see what it says. The beginning of New World traditions. Canada's only single malt whiskey distillery has aged 10-year-old whiskey in an ice wine barrel from international award-winning Jost winery, Nova Scotia, producing a unique character all of its own. Glenora's cast strength offering aged in ice wine barrels, especially handcrafted for you. And it's actually the Glenora Distillery. It says, Air du Dehag Salente, to your excellent health. And that's all you really need to know. We're going to open it up here. Okay, and we're going to pour it. Now, the first thing I need to mention about this comes in both 10, 15, and 17-year versions, this ice wine barrel version. And this is a 250 milliliter bottle version of the whiskey. This was $40. Now, normally I would not fucking touch this shit at that price and in this small a bottle, but I had a YouTube money check came in, so I spent some of that on this. So that's the only reason I picked this up. Otherwise, I would not pick this up. That is fucking egregious. It is fucking egregious. I don't care how good the fucking whiskey is. $40 for something that small is ridiculous. And of course, I've already had some of this anyway, as you will quickly see here. See, it's all gone. There we go. So I can tell you right now, very, very overpriced for the quality. Alright, so we'll swirl around here, let it breathe a little bit. So we'll go right to the aroma here. Okay, so you got like a grainy malt character there. A little bit of oak. Predominant note though is it has this very white grape sort of aroma to it. It definitely, the wine characteristics of the barrels definitely come out in the aroma. It's definitely white grape, pear, maybe slightly a bit of apple. And then there's definitely a distinct woodiness at the very finish of it, like at the very back. It smells okay. Not something I'm quite interested in personally. I'm much more on the side of the peaty, dark fruits, things like that. But it smells okay. It smells pretty good. So we'll go right to the taste. Okay, see, there's a problem with this one. First off, it's very, very warm. Of course, that's probably to the expected at 57.2, but it doesn't really work for me, personally. There are Scotch characteristics. You get the oakiness at the end. There's a nice Scotch malt characteristic to it at the front. Very grainy. But those white wine characteristics come in and they sort of get in the way, as far as I'm concerned. They're very, very sloppily sort of placed in there. It doesn't taste smooth. It doesn't really prepare you for the finish. I have a problem with it. It's just, it's not a smooth drink. It's not necessarily that pleasant of a drink, I find personally. It's not a terrible whiskey. I'm not going to say that. It's okay, but take into account there's definitely it's not balanced. It's just there's not a balance of flavors here. The white wine flavors, they threaten to take over any Scotch whiskey flavors you hope to have there. They don't blend very well at all, I don't find. And take into account also the price point on this motherfucker. It's kind of a slap in the face, really. I feel kind of ripped off paying $40, even though it was free money basically that I spent on this. I still feel ripped off paying $40 for a 250 milliliter bottle of unbalanced whiskey with off flavors. If this whiskey had somehow managed to blend, now I don't know if the 15 or 17 are any better, they probably are, but if this whiskey had managed to blend these ice wine flavors in with the Scotch flavors much better, I probably would have given this recommendation. But I find this very, it's a mess. It's really a mess. The flavors are all over the place. It's not something I like, and I gotta give it a thumbs down. It's definitely not recommended. I think this might be the first whiskey on this channel I have not recommended. If the price was $20, I might give it a bare minimum pass, because there is quality in there, but it just doesn't all come together. But at $40, it's a fucking insult. It really is. It's terrible. I don't know how much you would have to pay for it outside of Canada. It might be considerably less. If that's the case, you might want to pick it up. But at $20, definitely, at $40, definitely not worth the money. It's not a good whiskey experience for that money, and I have to say thumbs down. Alright guys, we'll see you later.